Hello, this is Nisha Fair. Welcome to my channel. If you haven't yet, please do subscribe, and for those of you that have subscribed, thank you so much. It does mean the world to me. And then do click the bell icon so that when I do upload again that you are notified. So the accused that we will be discussing today is Julius Mdawe, also known as the Facebook killer, because he met all of his victims through Facebook, allegedly. People didn't suspect him. A lot of his neighbors never really spoke to him except for one lady, Gogo Lizzie. She's actually pretty cool, but this affected her the most because they lived right next to each other. Now, Gogo Lizzie was either next to or at the back of his yard where all the bodies were found. They had a very good relationship. He would go and visit her and look after her grandchildren, who were between the ages of like 9 and 14. And she said that she thought that he was like a son to her because even though he was very weird and quiet and withdrawn, they would communicate a lot. She would also go to say sometime later that even though he was very withdrawn, she would see a lot of women at his house, like cleaning up and doing his washing. And sometimes there would be 2 women at the same time. We'll get to that now. She would also say that there would be times late in the evening where she would hear really loud music and she would go to him and be like, dude, put it down. And he would just look at her, turn around and walk away. But she never suspected anything because of his personality. He was shy, he didn't use a lot of words. Also, he loved his garden. Like, it was his pride and joy. When a lot of the people in the town were interviewed, they would say that his spinach and his vegetables and fruits and everything would grow in such abundance, and people never understood why. When he got arrested, his mother brought him to the police station, and then he confessed to killing the last victim, a 24-year-old, his girlfriend that he met over Facebook. So 2 days before this, they were tracking this missing person's phone, and then they located his house. They didn't think that he had murdered her or anything. They just wanted to know where she was, and he made himself look suspicious by jumping out of a window and running away. It's really weird to me that he only confessed to the first murder, or the last murder, really. And he took them to his house where they exhumed her body. He showed like there in the garden there's the Facebook lady. That's legit what he said to the detective. There, that's the Facebook lady. What the frick? So then they exhumed her body. They went and interrogated him more to find out why he did this. He said that him and the deceased met on Facebook and then they arranged to get together. So she was at his house, they had consensual sex, and then afterwards she demanded money from him, and he got very upset about this. It is said that she left and came back, and then their argument went further, and then he ended up killing her. He strangled her, and then he buried her in his garden. While the police were interrogating him, he confessed to killing a further 4 women. Now, one of the girls, actually the last victim's sister, she was 14 years old when she went missing. Now, after he murdered her and buried her in his garden, he took her cell phone and was SMSing or texting her mother to reassure her that she's still alive. One of the texts read something along the lines of, I'm fine and alive, read the messages. And if I had to receive that kind of SMS, I would find that a little bit suspicious or weird, but that's just me. There were 3 other victims besides those 2 that were sisters. So 2 of the victims were friends. Now, Gogo Lizzie said that she once, or on a couple of occasions, saw 2 women at his house at the same time doing washing and everything. So in my mind, the last time that she saw 2 women was these 2 friends. Now, they were not buried in his garden. They were actually buried in a room that had no roof and the floor was plastered. They were buried together, and when their bodies were exhumed, it was just bones. There were 3 women that were buried in the garden. The last victim, her sister, as well as a 3rd lady. This girl went missing in August of 2018. When they asked him if he had raped all of his victims, he said that some of them he raped and some of them were his girlfriends. So I don't know which was which, but it's crazy. This guy is crazy. And if you don't think that he's crazy, then you crazy. So remember when I said that his garden was full of abundance and he actually gave some of the fruits and vegetables to his neighbors? Well, that was the garden where these ladies were buried. That is disgusting. It's like, I can't get over the fact that he buried them in his garden, grew fruits and vegetables, and then ate it himself as well as gave it to other people and didn't think anything about it. That's a different level of crazy. Not that killing people isn't crazy on its own, but it's just as disgusting. So every time I look at fruits and vegetables now, I think, what? Is this a possibility? But I know it's not. I hope. One of the people said his spinach and millies always came out a lot bigger than ours, but I thought it was because he had a bigger tractor and a bigger hose pipe. I didn't know that he was using bodies as fertilizer. Side note, the victim that he was texting the mother of, her mother didn't do a missing persons report because in the area, a lot of the girls were running away with their boyfriends from their families, and she thoroughly believed that her daughter got pregnant and was too ashamed to come back home, which is pretty sad in itself. My heart goes out to the victims as well as their families. When they exhumed all the other bodies, the community took it upon themselves because now they were traumatized and they were enraged. How could this person do this? Someone in our community murdering these girls and burying them in his garden. During this time, they burnt his house down, which the police were not too happy about, obviously, because there could have been a lot of evidence that was there. And now they want, which I think, the community that burnt the house down, they now want his garden to be made as a memorial site for the victims, which I think is amazing and they definitely should do. I will keep you updated on that as well. So this is an ongoing case. He has been in court, from what I can tell, about 4 times. The first time that he went there was after they exhumed all of the other bodies. Okay, so on the 17th of July of last year, 2019, he went to the courts to apply for bail, but he didn't because, his house got burnt down and they were going to kill him. So he was then remanded into custody. His hearing was then postponed to the 28th of August, which was again postponed due to lack of evidence. Now, the 2 girls that were found buried together in the room without a roof, because there were only bones, it's very difficult to get DNA from those bones. So they postponed it again to hopefully get the results. Then again on the 5th of November of 2019, he again went to court and it was again postponed due to lack of DNA evidence. So yeah, and then it was postponed again. The last time that he was in court was on the 10th of January of this year, 2020. A lot of the victim's family thought that they were going to get reassurance and finally get him convicted to go to jail. But again, the DNA wasn't conclusive, not 100% conclusive. The DNA samples were sent to Netherlands and the next court date is on the 20th of March 2020. So I'm keeping tabs and looking every single day for more information, and as soon as I know something, you'll know something, or at least on that Sunday. So thank you for joining me today. I hope to see you really soon, and please let me know if there are any crimes that you would like me to do on, not just murders. And yeah, leave a like if you like this video. I don't know, maybe it is a thing.